Hi, my name is Benny Johnson. As some of you know, I've been struggling with addiction. However, I decided to change my life and went into recovery. I've started this podcast 90 Days Clean, and I want to take you along in my journey. What does lie ahead of me? Let me be frank, I do not know. Will I ever drink again? I do not know. This is how Stairway to Redemption was born. It is my search for answer in a real-time process of what is going to work for me. It is then my aspiration to help you figure out what's going to work for you. It is our journey together. Welcome to Stairway to Redemption, a podcast about addiction and recovery. Today, my guest is Rudy. Rudy is
Rios, R-I-O-S.
Yeah, Rudy is pillar of the sobriety community in Long Island, in the community in Long Island. He's the first guest that I have with a long sobriety. He has over 30 years. He's going to tell us exactly how long he has.
42.
42. Oh, wow. Okay. So, yeah, that's different. That's a long sobriety. And I met Rudy through a friend of mine who was in the podcast before. I don't know if you remember Rich, and Rudy's Rich sponsor. We met, through the AA community in Long Island, and he volunteered to be my guest in the podcast, which is amazing because, usually I have to, seek guests, but this time a guest came to me. That's amazing. And, as being a figure in the AA community, I couldn't pass on this opportunity, to interview Rudy. And so guys, I give you Rudy. Rudy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Yes, the best 42 years of my life out here in this program,
Yeah. Today, I like to start the podcast with this segment called, State of Mind Address. Basically, it's a play on word on State of the Union Address, but it's, how are you really doing? What's going on in your recovery, in your sobriety? What are the challenges after 42 years, is there any challenge that you're still facing?
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, your name again, please? Your name again?
Benny.
I'm going to tell you, it's just like in this program, since I came in, and I didn't come in by accident. I came in as a result of the DWI, many years ago. And if you want, I can tell you the real thing, how did it start. But
please tell us your story, by the way.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. I came from Argentina in 1964, and as I began to ride horses in Argentina, and then I looked for a better way of living, so I came to the United States, where I thought it was going to be 2 weeks, and here in Hialeah racetrack. But accordingly to the manager and owner of the Miami Heralds, he says, Rudy, how long you have to stay in this country? And I said, well, I don't read English, so here's the passport. He said, well, you have until next Monday. So that was in 1964, and they take me to this attorney, and they fix the papers, and I become legal in the United States. And at this time, I was not drinking because I have to watch my weight. I was like 118 pounds at the time. Until I was 40 years old, I was 118, 130 pounds. And what had happened is that I began to be successful within myself in this country, and I decided to stay. In later 1965, 67, I acclimated to New York, from Florida to New York, where I came in, and another time I had a second job, riding horses and racetracks and working in the afternoon. Was not a dishwasher, was a busboy. And this time I went and worked in Designtronic, making parts for machine guns, fire-gun controls, antenna for war tanks and warship against the Vietnamese. I hope no Vietnamese.
Okay, yeah, it was the war. We understand that. Keep going.
And what had happened is they want to send me to Vietnam. And I said to Mr. Victor Curax, I said, Mr. Victor, I just came from Argentina. I was in the Air Force for 3 years. and I showed the bullets on my leg from the airplane. And they said, well, we're going to give you a job in here in the United States so you can become a citizen of the United States. And I said, what am I have to do? And he said, well, you have to do this job. I said, but I don't speak English. And he said, we're going to pay you not to speak English. We're going to pay you to work. So I worked. I worked until Vietnam War was over. And then I went back to the racetrack, at Belmont racetrack, and I never abandoned the job. And that's how my life began. And here, then later around, I was 28 years old with a friend of mine. I was in a stable 24, owned by the Phipps family. And a friend of mine came in, Carlos, he says, no, Manny Garcia, he says, Rudy, do you want a beer? And I said, what is beer? He said, what do you mean, what is beer? Cerveza. I said, well, I don't drink. And it's 11 o'clock in the morning. He said, come on, Rudy, you are in America, you have to Americanize.
Yes.
So I followed suggestion. See, I followed suggestion. And what had happened, he went and get a 6-pack. I think I gave it 68 cents for 3 beers at the time. And when I drank the half of it, I put a aluminum foil on top, and he said, what is that for? I said, well, that's for my supper for tonight. You have to drink it all. I drink it all. It's just like somebody just lift me up from the ground. And I was flying. And I like the taste and I like the effect. Nevertheless, we began to go from bar to bar at Belmont Racetrack. By the time was 8 bars in Belmont Racetrack. And that's how I begin my alcoholism. But I make a decision at age 30. I'm going to get married, so I'm never going to drink again.
Okay.
Once I have a wife and a child and a house, because I make a lot of money at the racetrack, and then from there on, I'm going to be a good dad and a good husband. But, I didn't know this was a progressive disease,
Yes.
And I began to drink a little more. So one time, about 5 years after my marriage, I went to Fogarty's Tavern, to this Irish pub. And I said, Mr. Fogarty, I believe Blondie, my wife, she interfered with my good time. So therefore, he says, Rudy, when you get home tonight, you tell Blondie who's the boss in the house. So I said, okay. And I went. And my wife is tall. She's about 5'7", and I'm 5'4". And she says, I said, Jeannie, if we were in my country, I'm going to tell you who's the boss in the house. And she looked at me and she called me Rudolbert. She said, Rudolbert, I'm going to tell you something. We're not in your country, we're in mine. And guess what? Benny, I didn't like the answer. Yeah. 3 weeks later, I moved on top of the taverns, right across from Belmont Racetrack, and that's when I began to hit bottom. Every day, every Sunday especially, after finish galloping horses or grooming horses, whatever I did with the horses, because I've been in the horse business since I'm 11 years old, and now I'm going to be 83. And what happened, I got to a church in Elmont Road. I forget the name of the church. And I pray every day, every Sunday. And then I go right back to the bar and tell people how much money I put in the poor box for the church. Oh, I feel big, I feel grand. You know what I mean? Look what I did for the church, The ego. And as I said, ego is not my amigo, So what had happened, I begin to collect DWI, 1, 2, after I finished working in Belmont Racetrack by the 9th race, I go back to the tavern to celebrate lose or winning, and I went up in Nassau County Jail at about 4 DWI, 4 DWI. And the point is, that doesn't matter what we do in this life, alcohol doesn't make any better. I thought that the wife was interfering that way. I was wrong. I thought of the interference, but it was not. She wanted to prevent me from drinking. She didn't want to have a drinking husband. And as retaliated, that's when I moved out. So I remember I was going to work out a filly by the name Number Account in Saratoga, owned by the Phipps. And the Phipps says, Rudy, we want you at 5 o'clock in the morning working out this filly. And I say, yes, sir. When I'm not drinking, I say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. I'll be there. I just went to the BPI to say goodbye to my friends. I'll see you next month.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be in Saratoga at 5 a.m. I look at the clock behind me, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to tell you, Benny, when I drink, I love to impersonate movie actors, singers, Tom Jones, Dean Martin, and the other one, the Candyman. And at the time, I don't know if you know that song. You're too young to know that, probably.
Probably.
And Sammy Davis Jr., the Candyman. And so, therefore, Rose is sitting here, and Kathy is sitting here. I used to have a little mustache at the time. And Kathy said to Rosie, listen, isn't that Rudy look like Charles Bronson? He's so cute, and I love his accent. So guess what happened? At 2 o'clock in the morning, I asked Barbara, the owner of the bar, Barbara, can I have a bottle of whiskey to go? She said, you have to return it when you come back. Well, I never returned a bottle of whiskey. I'll drink it, I get drunk, and Charles Bronson came into my mind. The death wish, he never get locked up, but I did. I was driving 105 miles on the thruway. And that was, after my 40 WI, because I want to be on time, but I never get on time. I was locked up probably at 6 o'clock in the morning in Goshen, Newburgh. That was July 31st, 1977. You see when I said you were a baby then?
Yeah, I mean, back in
1977, I get locked up. And on the third day, in August the 2nd or the 3rd, the police officer came to my cell. He says, Rudy, how did you know my name? He says, Rudy, don't you remember me? No, sir. You know you have a dirty mouth when you're drunk. You even curse at my secretary. I say, I'm sorry. It's too late to be sorry. But I'm going to tell you something. He planted the seed. If you ever sober up, you might turn to be a good person. He said, he didn't say you're going to be you might turn to be a good person. I didn't come in right away because I have to go to the bar and tell my friends what happened, why I didn't go to work in Saratoga that month. You know, that the whole smear, you know. Yeah. Oh, poor me, look at me. Oh, Rudy, have another drink on me. Have another. Rudy celebrate. And guess what? More stories come on, more liars coming out. And one day, after that, I'm broke. Because I used to own 3 horses for my ex-wife for Madison Square Garden, beautiful home in Copiague, you know. And the point of mine it is that I give you the description because I want you to know the alcohol is very destructive.
Yes.
We want to stop. But once we pick up a first drink, it's right back to the races, you know?
I see.
And at this point in time, it's, I think it was somewhere, I was coming back from Ocala, Florida, with Tartan Stairway, which I worked in there for 27 straight years. And as I'm walking Plainfield Avenue, let me show you, I'm going to stand up. It was not like this, like you see me today. Nice clean shirt, nice pair of shoes. My shoes, sneakers, they were full of horse manure. My pants, they smell. Under my armpit, I have like a little pebbles hanging. That's what alcohol brings me to just discard myself from this world. As I'm walking in Plainfield Avenue, I said, God, I really don't know what to do. And it was Friday. I thought it was Sunday morning. At 6 o'clock in the morning, I go knock the door in the White Tavern. And Larry come out and said, Rudy, why are you knocking the door? I said, well, it's Sunday. No, today is Friday. How come you didn't work? Another lie. I said, well, my uncle, he saw me a little drunk and he told me to go home and rest. He said, so why don't you go home? I said, I get this shake a little bit. I need to calm down. Benny, when I went to pick up the glass of whiskey, the shot of whiskey, 6 ounces or whatever, and my hand shake. He shook and shook. I said to him, I can do this. And he says, I'll fix you. I know what you need. Put a water glass and I put a short beer and the whiskey. 10 minutes later, it was gone.
Wow.
Now, do you see my screen door in there?
Yeah.
I have it in the bar, bluish, and it had the see-through glass. And I look in there, I was 40 years old at the time. I looked myself and I said, this is not me. I looked blue and my eyes was red and my face was puffed. And I said, God, at that particular time, from all the material things that I own, the money, the boys on the racetrack used to say, gee, Rudy, go again back to the bank. The bank gonna be leaning one side with his money alone. And that was the truth. I have a lot of money because I never drink before. Except since 1970, no, what did I say? 1968.
Yeah.
1968. I came to the program in 1980. Mine is
77.
In 77,
Yes.
I look myself, and this is no. I went right across it. Oh, at that time I had I think it was $1.25 in my pocket. There's the bar in here where I'm sitting, the liquor store in there, the hot dog man over there. I said, I have $1.25. What am I going to do now? Am I going to get me a bottle of vodka or a hot dog? And guess what I did?
A bottle of vodka.
A bottle of vodka. But the thing is that I went right across the street, and this black man was sitting and laughing, and I saw him before. You know, because I used to call, hey, mister, I'm drinking wine with the Soul Brothers. He said, go keep on drinking. I didn't know that he was the counselor in the building.
Oh, he was the counselor in the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
His name was John Carroll. Wonderful, wonderful black man. And he says, what did you want? I said, I think I saw you in a bar. He said, well, I was looking for people who want to stop drinking. I said, but I was drinking wine with you. No, it was probably the guy next to you. And he says, what did you want? I said, I just want to stop drinking. I can't handle this no more. And he said, I guess you are in the right place. He said, I'm going to bring you to Nassau County Medical Center, but I want you to do something before. But don't stay. Just go and come back. Have 2 drinks and come back. And I went to detox. Nassau County Medical Center, I think it was 1 or 2 floors. Now it's 100 floors in there. And I didn't know what detox means. He said, I'm going to tell the doctor to take the alcohol poison out of you for 5 days. Okay. So we go, and then I'm going to get better? He said, yes, but you cannot drink. For the rest of my life? No, just 1 day at a time. How am I going to do that? Just 1 day at a time.
Yeah.
Don't drink, cancel it to tomorrow. So, as I follow instruction like when Manny says, Rudy, you have to learn how to drink. When John Carlos says, Rudy, you're going to have to stop because you can never safely drink again. So, when he said, he came to visit me, at the 4th day, he said, Rudy, with the counselor decide to send you to Plainview. Make an association, Plainview and Bellevue. And I thought he was saying Bellevue. I said, Bellevue? That's good because I'm crazy anyway with alcohol. He said, no. Plainview Rehab, where they're going to teach you how not to drink.
Yeah.
And that was right here by my house. So I went in there for 3 months. I come back and I start working again and continues working, not drinking 1 day at a time. But guess what happened?
You relapse.
I was speaking in South Oak Hospital that night. I was doing the jailhouse, Christmas carol. My sponsor were gonna speaking Connecticut, New Jersey, everywhere. And yet something that happened in here. I learned that I'm not Irish. Remember, you don't remember, at the time they used to say, my name is Benny, I'm a Catholic, Irish, and alcoholic.
Yeah.
My name is Rodolfo, Catholic. And I said, what am I going to say? So I left doubtful in my mind, see that devil in my mind. He says, Rudy, you're not Irish.
Yeah.
I went right back to O'Brien's Tower.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Brien says, Rudy, where were you for 3 years? Oh, Mr. O'Brien, I come back to pay you $17 that I owe you from 1977.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, he said, okay. And he said, but what were you for 3 years? I said, well, I'm in this Irish club that people don't drink. And he looked at me.
You're not Irish.
He said, you're not Irish. Have a wine on me. He said, but I'm going to give you something good. Musi beer, non-alcohol. He says non-alcohol. But now I learned the non-alcohol beer is for the non-alcoholic. Benny, I'm going to tell you, the very next morning, I drink the Musi beer, and I told you before, I never smoke, I never do any kind of a drug. That night, it was a little something in here, in the ashtray. And I said to my guy, I said, what is that? He says, Rudy, that's a roach. Somebody left a roach. And what the hell is a roach? The only one that I know is the cucaracha. I said, no, the one that we smoke. And we start, and he said, smoke that, gonna make you happy, gonna feel good.
Yeah.
I smoked that. 5 minutes later, I was smiling and playing pool and saying hello to the beautiful girls. I thought they were beautiful.
You thought, okay.
And the next morning, I went up again with a half a pint on my jacket pack. So people, they want to let me ride horses no more.
Yeah.
They didn't want it. They didn't want the drunken Rudy on top of the $1 million horse.
Yeah.
Bobby, who was the last trainer that fired me, he saw me drinking whiskey and a cup of black coffee. And he told me, Rudy, I don't want you to ride this horse.
Yeah.
Go home, sleep it off, if you can, but don't come back. I don't want drunken people in my horses. Let me tell you what, 10 years later, I went to Bobby. I said, Bobby, I just come in to say thank you. Thank you for what? For firing me. Look, I get emotional. If it wasn't for you, I probably would not be in this program today. I was 10 years sober. And my career continued. But before that, I went to talk to Bobby. I was sober again 3 years, I think. Yeah, 3 years. Because I met my wife a little bit after that. And I met Chaplain Watson. And Chaplain Watson says, Rudy, I think the people from the upper class, they want to talk to you. I said, what about it? They're going to ask a couple of questions. Because I recommend them to talk to you. So and I said, just give me a hint. What is all about it? I said, well, they say that people cleaned up, bringing the horses clean to the paddock. They change the clothing. They're not urinating in their pants no more. And they asked me what they do. Oh, they're hanging around Rudy now. And what does Rudy does for these people? He put them in South Oak Hospital and then he put them into 12-step program. The next morning, I was sitting in a bale of hay, having my cup of coffee. And these two big guys come in and say, my name is John. I forgot his name, McGreg, something like that. And he's the president of the racetrack, Belmont Racetrack, Aqueduct in Saratoga. And I'm the chief of investigation. I'm going to tell you this word. We have a proposal for you. A proposal? Okay. I don't know what it was proposal. I did not know. And then somebody told me, Rudy, they are trying to do something for you.
An offer for you.
An offer, yeah. Okay? A propuesto in español. So, when they come in, I kind of not surprised that much. I said, what the hell did I do before? I'm not drinking for 3 years. I don't beat up people no more with a whip or anything, you know? And they come in and says, we have a proposal for you. Yes, sir. Well, we're going to double up your salary if you accept the proposal. What do you... Well, we want you to follow up education. And upon we have your history, tell us what you do with these people. But we're going to send you to school at South Oak Hospital. School of psychology, misbehavioral parents, attitude adjustment, and education in alcohol and drug abuse. I'm going to tell you, I went in there and I graduated, not speaking good English, but I still see my instinct of trying to help people.
Okay.
I passed grade 97. My mentor was Adele Sachs, Vinny, I forget the last name, Vinny McCormick, Father Joseph, and Bob Keel. And I passed those. I passed. And then the Racing Association, Mr. Ramirez, is here. I said, Rudy, we like you. Now that you continue escalating your education, we want you to go to Louisville, Kentucky School of Medicine.
Oh, wow.
It's here. It's here. On my resume, if you want to see it later.
For sure.
And guess what? I went to School of Medicine. Dr. Barrett was my mentor. I passed that grades also. It was a cross courses, you know what I mean? And then he says, okay, here we go. Rudy, we're going to help you to open up this program. We're going to call BEAT, Backstretch Employees Assistant Team. Okay?
Yep.
One is updated, the other one is old. I don't know which one is the updated one, but there's two of them here. Okay? If you want to take a copy just in case.
Oh, sure.
So, Benny, I was blessed. I'm still blessed. And this in here, and one of this, I'm going to read it to you a little bit. Okay?
Please do. Yep.
Okay. It says...
That's the BEAT program, right?
We change it to BEST.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the person who changed the name, she was fired.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Because whoever's here, they're going to know who am I talking about.
Yeah, no need to mention that name.
By Mr. Paul Ruchamin. This is a letter that he wrote in my behalf. BEST hero. I don't get emotional and I try to cry. It says like this. It's doing me an accolade like it, or if you will, an evaluation. Doing me an evaluation for this that I was filmed just recently. It says, Rudy Rios. It was a bleak winter in 1989 prior to the formal beginning of the BEAT program, Backstretch Employees Assistant Team, Drug and Alcohol Treatment. Program for the stable areas, workers at Aqueduct, Belmont, and Saratoga. Rudy Rios, the founder of the BEAT program, was peering passively out of the office window, beyond the gates that separate the racetrack from the real world. Okay, and it says here, this is what I saw today. Rudy says, at the time, to see someone who drop out from work looking for leftovers in the garbage or for a place to sleep under the bridge of the Cross Island Parkway. The only thing some people, backstretch worker, knows is work with the horses, go back to the room, sit down and drink, and then close down the tavern at 4 a.m. Revelatory moments like the launch Rudy Rios on a mission of a unnecessary suffering of the backstretch worker. And as his mission is continued to this day, Rudy helped to an informal collaboration with NYRA, New York Racing Association, and NYTHA, Thoroughbred Horsemen Association, and quickly program blossom in some critical and grounds-breaking elements. A recovery dorm requested by Rudy Rios was provide up to 22 backstretcher worker, 22 beds, and one for the emergency room in case of detoxification. The worker was saved, carefully controlled a sober living environment. Counseling for workers. This is the letter that I wrote in my behalf. Who has become desperate and hopeless due to this ravage of untreated alcoholism or mental illness. AA meeting was established. Those meetings will come to portal for transformation, recovery, and countless hundreds of backstage workers of Long Island resident and continue into the present. During the 1980s, this recent immigrant from Argentina, an exercise rider by trade and by little formal education, completing laying a foundation for best, and has willed himself into find razor and with the help of others be able to get close to $100,000 seed money from Naira and Naitha and the support of Mr. Rai, the Rai Hill Farm, Mr. Ryan, I forget his first name, Jim Ryan. Rudy no longer works for Best, but Best continues to benefit from his advice and the solid foundation which is led 25 years ago, standing on Rudy's shoulders. I can't read this. Best has become a model for the nation's racetrack, now providing free health insurance and primary health care, New York State licensed drugs and alcohol treatment, food, clothing, internet and Skype access, and more. But most of all, Best continue to fuel by the original passion of Rudy Rios to help the seemingly unhelpable and to give a hope for the hopeless of the backstretch. Sorry.
Well, no, that's beautiful. I understand how you can become emotional saying that, and that's
incredible.
That's a beautiful story, Rudy. I mean,
this is incredible.
This is very incredible. I cannot imagine, and I understand now why you have such a long sobriety, 42 years, but,
right. And here's just what I was telling you before, see? Okay? This was in year 22. I wrote this letter to Mr. Paul Rushaman, my new director program. The program with wonders since he took over, and I think it was 2010. And it says, my name is Rodolfo G. Rios. Mr. Paul, I am writing this letter of gratitude just to say thank you. I began to work with horses in 1951. In 1964, I arrived to the United States from Argentina, seeking life of improvement, which I found through the horses racing industry in New York. I worked for many years as an exercise rider, horse grooming, later decided to obtain education successfully, and I graduated from Savanica High School, including special education at South Oak Hospital and Louisville, Kentucky. Then with the assistant to New York Racing Association officers, BEAT program was founded, currently the best, which is the lead as you are executive director. What is led by you as an executive director. I am grateful to the efforts of dedicating for the backstretch worker. I'm going to repeat that. I am very grateful of the effort you are dedicating for the backstretch worker. As I am a man of many years of recovery from alcoholism, I must say I am proud of your work you have done to promote recovery toward the working population and to allow for AA group to grow within Best facility. You also assisted the employees to obtain health insurance coverage by helping to improve the backstretch clinic where all employees can receive free medical care. Most all of you have always indicated me how deeply you concerned are about the backstretch worker. You are a person of high working skill, and dignity towards the continuum of assistance within Belmont, Ecuador, and Saratoga to maintain a healthier, safe, productive environment. With God's help, you and your staff are helping towards the improvement of New York Racing Association and the community. Okay, that's what I wrote the letter for him.
Okay, I see. That's beautiful, Rudy. I have a question for you. So, you know how you say now you are 42 years. I agree with you, but when you were describing, you said like after like you being sober for 3 years, you went on a stint for a week.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. That I cut off. So now I just celebrated 39 years last week.
Yeah, so exactly. About my question, why, for me, you are 42 years. That's true that after 3 years, you went on a stint for a week. But what do you think what do you reset your counter? Because when you look at the whole thing, right, you had 3 years, you had 1 week of, do you make the difference between a slip up and a relapse?
But I'm going to tell you something. The slip, if somebody put a banana peel under my shoes.
Yeah.
Relapse is coming as a result of a mental impairment.
Okay.
Because we are attacked by something called alcoholism, not alcoholism.
Yeah.
Once an alcoholic, it never start to be an alcoholic. We try to figure it out. See?
Yeah.
But in 1980, my sponsor told me, Rudy, don't try to figure it out. Just go with the flow. Once you are an alcoholic, you're going to continue being an alcoholic. Second of all, when you are a pickle, you're never going to turn to a cucumber again.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that before.
So, I came up with this idea at one time. If I continues, that means if I continues going to the bar. If I continues going to the barbershop, eventually I'm going to get a haircut. Okay? Yeah. That's something, I don't know who copycat from me. Copycat. Yeah. And, but I have a wonderful life. As I tell you why, when my sponsor, Richard, he says, Rudy, my sponsor said, oh, Rudy, you only have it 90 days. Hey, listen, you spoke on 90 days. I spoke in 90 days. Why my sponsor? But no. Let it learn the process.
Yes.
As my wife said before she died, Rudy, bring the message, don't carry the mess, and trust the process. That's what I always said. My wife died with 32 years of sobriety.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, the question was, why did we go out? Because we retaliate and to accept the things we cannot change. The courage to change the things I can. It's me. The wisdom to know the difference that I ain't gonna drink today. I have no time to drink today. Not every day of my life I have a time to drink. Now, if I look for the time to drink, I will find it.
Yeah.
But I keep an AA in one hand and God in the other.
I see.
Okay?
So.
Relapse mode, it'll begin, I will say practically 3 months prior to picking up the drink. Because it's something revolving door. It's a revolving door in your brain cells. Because once, an example, but I heard Rudy speaking 20 times already. I heard Vinny go out and interview people so many times already.
Yep.
I'm tired to hear the story.
Okay.
And that's what alcoholics do.
Yeah, that's where they start, sleeping.
Then they stop going to meeting.
Yep.
Well, I used to go to, say, 7 days a week. I had to go to 6, now to 5, now to 4. Well, maybe I go next week. And that's how we begin. And that's the relapse.
Yeah.
The sleep is just in case of an accident do happen.
Yeah.
I'm cooking and I burn my food. That's a sleep because I just burn my hand. But I'm going to make sure that I don't going to burn them again.
Yeah.
But with the relapse, it means I'm going to continue putting my hand in the stove.
Yeah.
So how less it's going to hurt the next time.
Yeah.
Will that be any different?
I see.
And it happened to the BMW
I see.
when he went to sell cars or whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
You know? See, I know my story. A lot of people today, very well educated and intellectual people tell you about the story of BMW and this one and that one.
Yeah.
I went to BMW house in East Dorset.
Yeah.
I did the big book meetings there. I did bring 14 of my employees to his house, you know. And I don't know the story. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just ignored that.
Yeah.
Why? Because recovery is upon my own knowledge,
Yeah.
my own intuition to continue the progress, to continue what I have to do.
I see.
You know?
So the next question is, when you're saying that like the relapse starts progressively, you start not going to meetings, you start like going less to less, you miss, and you not participating enough. Like a previous guest on my podcast, wanted to emphasize the difference between the 12-step program and the fellowship of AA, because some people go to meetings every day, but they don't do the 12-step. Yeah. Exactly. So like, is there a way for you? What's the importance of both for you? Because there are people out there who can stay sober by reading the book, just by following the 12-step. They don't necessarily need the fellowship of AA, so they don't necessarily go to meetings. For you, what's the importance? What's the right balance between the 12-step program and the fellowship of AA?
That's very good question. Very good question, because I might have an answer for you. I'm not Mr. Know-it-all, but I might have an answer. I can hardly speak English anyway. So what happened is, people go to a meeting, sit down, drinking coffee, eating cookies, and not participating. Okay? They go early and leave early.
Okay.
They not confine themselves into a higher power that can restore us to sanity. Because it's just all the time I says, give it up to God. I can, He can, and I'm letting to guide me to the right path. I can sit in AA meeting all day, but if I don't participate, try to bring the message to the next suffering alcoholic, they destroy me. That's when I start to get bored and I stop to go into a meeting.
Yeah.
Okay? The most practical thing it is service.
Service.
That's what you're asking me about. That will prevent me from relapse. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I used to sponsor an attorney. And he will call me every day. You see my house is neat, clean, right? So, hello sponsor, how are you doing today? What are you doing? Well, I'm cleaning my house. And it went like that for a week. Because I love to keep my house clean and shiny. And he said, gee, every time I call you, you're cleaning the house. Well, once I clean it because I have a cat at home. I don't want my house to smell like animals. I want to keep my house because people coming in to visit me, and I don't want to look disheveled. I learned that from my wife's sponsor, because my wife was said to the sponsor, say, Helen, now I'm mopping. And the sponsor says, keep on mopping, it'll keep you sober. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. And that's a spiritual awakening. Move a muscle, change your thought. This morning, I didn't want to get up. Oh, poor me. I went to a meeting last night. Now I have all this commitment to do today. And guess what happened? I'm up now. I begin to cook. I begin to do laundry. And all is done in my home. That is what prevented me from that relapse. And that's what indicate me that I can continue this one day at a time.
Yeah.
To prevent the relapse. To be part of AA. Not just to be one foot in AA.
Yeah.
It's another thing. I can memorize.
The book.
The big book. I can, and I'm an intelligent guy.
Yeah, you are.
And I can do this.
Yes.
I can memorize phrases.
Yes.
Or the 12 step. 1980, my sponsor Tim, unfortunately, he drank after 25 years of recovery.
Oh, sorry.
He stopped going to meetings. He says he's lost, because he knew better. That's a sickness of the mind, okay? So he used to say, Rudy, honest alcoholics don't drink. They go to meeting and they do service. And I like that. He moved to Pennsylvania and he became a president of the company, but it was just a work. Beautiful home, 19 home room, beautiful 3 Cadillacs in the driveway, the swimming pool, the wife and the child. And I used to visit him with my wife and I said, Tim, how come you not go to meetings no more? Padrino, he called me Padrino, my godfather. Padrino, I got 89 men under my wing. And I have no time to go to a meeting. 3 years later, he called me to my office. And as I work for investigation, I said, good morning, Investigation Rios. He said, Padrino? I said, yes. He said, can you lend me $500? You're the president of the company. But I stopped going to a meeting and I drank again. Yeah. No more home. No. It's just like at the beginning of my story. Now, he took the story, but I took over the recovery.
Yeah.
And that is to be the answer for you to prevent relapse. We have to continuously be active in meetings. Meetings. Okay. And Liz Bailey will say, practice, and that's what I do, and a day at a time.
Yeah. Another question I have now is, now we have other people who are people from the LGBTQ community who, want to be more, who also have the challenge, are in the room of AA and want to be more inclusive. And the program was written in the 1930s. And sometimes people are like, for example, in the preamble, people are like, it's a fellowship of men and women. People would like to change that to a fellowship of people.
Right.
What's your opinion on that? Like because people have accused AA of being like first very God-centric when it's an agnostic program. It was designed as but you have people who always close or open with our Father. And also AA has been accused of not being very friendly to like the LGBTQ community. Like what's your opinion on that?
My opinion is the world equal. This is an equal opportunity of the disease. Remember that. When I told you I was want to work for Vietnam, and some places will say, we're not hiring Latinos or something. Yeah. And then they come up with this is an equal opportunity of employment. This is an equal opportunity of the 12 steps and 12 traditions. Think changing, okay? But also they have just like doctors, they have their own groups. Gay and lesbian, they have their own groups, which is one in Jericho Turnpike. They all have the capacity. Remember that when I come in, I told you this was only for Irish people.
Yeah, that's true. You said
and
that.
I said, how can black men? I said, but then I said, did they allow Spanish people? Oh, yeah. But I said, why the blacks? Don't they alcoholic also? And they suffering?
Yeah, they are.
They look at me like, and they told me, they used to call me a Negro lover. Oh, Rudy's a Negro lover. No, my 2 wives are German. Anyway, So that's me. I never changed the color. But I just try to answer your question. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not that I am critical to anyone. It's just I say, this program is an equal opportunity of the disease. It doesn't mind your employment, your religion, or anything. Before even Jewish don't used to. And now guess what?
Yeah.
I have a friend that helping me to write Jewish. Can you imagine now I'm writing Jewish?
Yeah.
And try to verbalize it also. But the question was,
So like
why is I have against? No, I don't have a. I don't have a bias against anybody.
So it doesn't bother you if somebody were to change a fellowship of men or women to a fellowship of people. For you, it's the same thing, right?
To me, it will be to accept, because if a congregation, I'm the only soldier to say no, guess who's gonna win?
The others.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am powerless. See, do you see people now, they get engaged into watch Trump and Biden? What am I going to do about Trump and Biden?
Yeah.
Am I going to pay the taxes for Trump? Or am I going to, Mr. Biden start to being a liar?
Yeah. It doesn't get.
This is what I can not control. I can visualize this.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm powerless over people, places, and things.
Yeah.
Okay. So what am I get opinion to? No, I don't have an opinion. I only have a suggestion.
Sure.
I suggest that people should be respected in Alcoholic Anonymous or in any other place.
Yeah, that's beautiful answer. But like to go, I noticed you said like your wife was in a program to 32 years sober, and like fraternization in the room is very frowned upon. But sometimes people gravitate to each other, and many people met their significant other in the rooms. So like, what is the difference between something that happens organically and fraternization? Like, okay.
Fraternization, we must use it in rehab. We don't want the client to engage with the female because I'm going to destroy the treatment.
Yes.
In Alcoholic Anonymous, they call it 13th step, which is about the same. Because if you do 13th step, you're not focusing on your recovery.
That's true.
I'm talking about me, okay? When I met my wife was 3 months in a program. I was like in a program now since 1980 to 85. Yeah, to 85.
So you were like 5 years in the program.
Then we went to the Holy Spirit Church I used to go. And I walked on this pretty woman. And she smiled. I said, oh, she wants me. Right away I said, oh, she wants me. You know, the devil is within Rudy.
The devil is within Rudy.
So what happened, I invite her for coffee. I don't go out for coffee. But you're not drinking? No. See, I want to stay sober. I said, I have to talk to my sponsor, Elizabeth. Elizabeth kept saying, no dating, no going out. So with me, I was consistent and this pretty woman. 6 months later, it was our first cup of coffee.
6 months later. Yeah. Wow, okay.
And then what had happened, I told my sponsor.
Yeah.
Tim, I met this lady, blah, 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 you know. Said, oh, kiss your serenity, goodbye, you're going to drink. I said, not everybody fit the same pair of shoes.
Yep.
You know? I said, I'm young. She's a young lady. She's been divorced. I am alone. And we start kind of a dating here and there until 3 weeks later, I'm moving to her house. 3 weeks later, I'm moving to a house with my little Volkswagen. And we just married. And I'm still married to her. There's no replacement for Lolo. No replacement. And now our wedding, which we married in my office, played the song You Are My Hero by Kenny Rogers. And that stayed with me. That's what I said, Lolo. It was and still is the wind beneath my wings. My Lolo and I, that was our first dinner table. The one outside.
Yes.
Okay? With the benches over there in the kitchen. Poor. We still poor. And we start to come up in the world, and we have what we have today. Lolo and I, we study, because she went to the same course. Lolo and I, we study until 2 o'clock in the morning, and she said, don't you tired? I said, well, a little tired, but I'm not drinking, so I'll be on top of my horses at 5 o'clock in the morning in Belmont Racetrack. So I went. I was grooming horses, whatever I did. Honest job all the time. And that's how my life started. Lolo, Chaplain Watson, Jim Ryan, exactly. Jim Ryan. The president of the New York Racing Association. Tom Dorkin. He was my biggest supporter.
So your support network, basically, those people
Those people that push me up.
Yeah.
They never put me down.
Yeah.
My language didn't matter to them. That's what I say about this gay thing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what's,
Doesn't matter what. These people supported me and they knew that I could hardly speak the language. And I said to my wife, what did they say? Well, they say this, Rudy, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And the program began. And that's why, because my persistence and tried to help. And that's what eliminate the relapse mode.
Yeah.
Okay. Because when you begin this little interview, wow, I was interviewed today. At this time I was drunk. I was drunk at this time, yes sir. Sunday especially. I will be in a white tavern waiting for Helen to make a bacon and egg with tequila chaser. What kind of a life was that?
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Next question. What are some of the challenges that you faced when you were in recovery that people still face today? Like that you see that like are the same thing, that nothing changed?
Well, a lot of challenges I find on a daily basis, but I just go with the flow.
No, but the challenges that are for your sponsors. When you sponsor somebody and you see that they're struggling, what are the struggles of today that were the same struggles of yesterday?
Well, that some of them they recapacitate to say, okay, Rudy, you were right. I'm going to try to do your way this time.
Okay.
Because my way actually doesn't work. That's one of the challenges. They're minor. Because I've been talking to people like with this disease since 1980.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The challenge is somebody that betrayed to my condition to sponsor them when they go and I tell something and talk to somebody else. So there's not confidentiality. Now, if you say something, gee, Rudy's a helper guy, I think I'm going to stick with him. And I hear that, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a non-challenge situation. When the person calls me and says, Rudy, I have a drink once in a while. That is a big challenge. Because if you're not ready, I'm not going to be ready for you either.
That's true.
I have to bring you the message, but I will not carry the message. I'm here having a slice of pizza with white wine. Or should I change to dark wine? When you want to drink, call me before you want to drink. Don't call me after.
Yes.
You know, that is one of the biggest challenges. Other than that, the only big challenge that I have is when my wife died. My family will sit outside, 7:30 p.m. Rudy, where you going? I go to my meeting. But your wife just died and you're 37 years over. Why do you have to go and see those people? That was a challenge because I could say, well, I'm going to stay with you. And my answer was, those people know me better than you.
Oh, wow. You say that to your own family, huh? Yeah.
Because my family used to say before he died, oh, my family is German. You can see that, all German.
Yeah, I see the pictures.
And it says, my brother-in-law used to say, is my drinking bother you? I say, no, my own drinking is the one that bothers me. Unfortunately, he died 6 months after because of alcohol.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
You know? So.
All right. One more question. The program is said to be a program of attraction, but not promotion. But, I noticed how you in figure of like AA of recovery and AA in Long Island. I see how many commitments you have. I see like people going to, the HNI, you go to see field, like you do those commitments. That's a little bit form of, promotion a little bit,
Yeah.
Don't you think like AA needs to do more, right? To bring people in the room? Because my not is not the issue. My concern is when you don't define what, when you're not on the top of the narrative about what AA is, what the program is, other people gonna have misconception about the program. So I see the advantage with having a press, right? A media that we like, AA, this is who we are, right? Being on the top of it. That will eliminate the misconception that people have. What do you think?
It's all depend how you conceive this. It's all depend. If you have an open mind, that you're going to know. Yes. As your question was, not an attraction.
You said the program is not a program. It's a program of attraction, not promotion. Okay. But I think we should promote a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
But what happened is for people who have an open mind, they're very intellectual.
Yes.
They drop into intellectuality away, and they work with their emotions. Okay. This is an emotional program. If you put intellectuality in front of emotion, you are to decline from sobriety. Oh, I'm too smart for these people. And that's professionalism. Okay.
Oh, okay, I see.
Okay. I'm too smart to be in this group. No, I can do it myself. Instead, the attraction, when I go to Seafield, you listen to me. You listen to Rich. You listen to Charlie. You listen to Bruce. Maybe something in here. I mean, I am attracted to the 12-step program of alcoholism, or any 12-step, okay? Alcoholism, drug abuse, sexual, whatever it is, okay? But we have to bring the message for the ones who want, not for the one who need. The intellectual, he need this program, but they don't change. Emotional on top of intellectuality will be hard for them to stay sober.
Okay,
and that is my answer. The attraction of the program.
Okay, I see. That's interesting. I never heard that.
I attract you. I'm not pushing you to it. Let's see if I can attract this guy to follow my step. I'm gonna try. But once when I see my poor son, my son, this program since 1980. Okay, he was about 9 years old, 7. Today is 50. And he still struggles with this. Why? Because he's very intellectual. He studied psychology. He studied Buddhism. He studied all this thing with ism, but he doesn't study himself.
Yes.
And that's very intellectual.
Yes.
And he says that every alcoholic should reward himself. And I say, how so, son? There he is. I saw son. He says, have a drink once in a while. I said, Papi, every time you reward yourself, you wind up in jail. And he doesn't like the answer. I'm smarter than you, Dad. I said, and that's intellectuality.
Mm-hmm.
Attraction is it attracting you by my story. Gee, I wish I could have been like Rudy. I wish I could have been like you doing this for people. I wish I could have been 7 feet tall. God is keeping me on track because he knows I have a bad temper.
Yeah.
Hey?
Interesting. That's great. All right. So this is the last question of the interview. I'm going to open the floor for you. What do you like to say to the newly sober or people who just get out of treatment? This is the last question.
My suggestion for the person who coming out of rehab, okay, let's begin first. Do not go to the bar after you've been discharged from South Oak Hospital, from Seafield, from anywhere. Because I hear a lot of people complaining, oh, Seafield was good, but the counselor was not that good, and the other one is a dump. But I'm going to tell you something.
Yes.
If you don't go to the bar and you go to the meeting where they plant the seed, don't drink and go to the meeting, very well indeed. But if you go back to the bar, you're going to drink again, and that's inevitable. Okay? The pain going to grow again. Okay? The other piece it is, they tell you, go to a meeting, practice a step. They don't tell you to do the step right away. Just practice. Read step 1. Don't read the 12th step in the first month. Oh, but I know the step. As long as you saw it 3 months and you telling me about already you did the 12th step, how's that? Step number 1. You are here because you are powerless over alcohol. Step 2, if you pick up the drink, you're going to become insane. Step 3, if you don't give it to God, God not going to help you. If you want step 4, the principle, to get to know oneself through the sponsorship. What is wrongdoing? Why am I get drunk again? Because I'm an alcoholic. And so there go on and so forth. The most wonderful thing is step 11. It's a paragraph in there. 3 lines. To understand and to be understood. To love and to be loved. To comfort and to be comforted. Okay? And to forgive others so God can forgive ourselves. You know? Don't go back in home. Okay? This is for the newcomer. Don't go back home with a big book and try to preach the family.
Yeah.
The family didn't make you drunk. Alcohol make you drunk. Why am I become an alcoholic? I become addicted to something that make me feel good. You know? And that's kind of my responses of what I'm telling people. Once you stop practicing number 1, the other 12 steps have no meaning. You could memorize the book, phrase by phrase, and telling me, you can't. You can if you don't practice step 1. Step 1 is the soft part, and try to admit that I can never safely drink again. And that's what I tell them.
All right. Wow, that's beautifully answered. Thank you very much, Rudy, for doing this interview. Thanks, guys, and I will see you for the conclusion. There you have it, folks. This concludes episode 14 of the Stairway to Redemption podcast. Big thanks to the sage himself, Rudy Rios, for sharing his wisdom of 42 years of sobriety. I would like to take a brief moment to point out the dichotomy between this week's episode and last week's. Drew last week stressed the importance of the 12-step program, aka the big book itself, whereas Rudy focuses on staying with the fellowship of the community. Both approaches are valid, in my opinion, and not necessarily contradictory. I think it has to do with balance, but I would love to know your opinion, what you all think. As always, hit us up on social media, follow us at Stairway to Redemption on Instagram, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.